Hey everybody, Sean Holsinger here from holsingersflyshop.com. Bringing another tying video today. This time we're going to tie a rainbow trout pattern. This is a small rainbow imitation, and just a baby rainbow, and it's a simple pattern to tie. It's not real hard to tie. Kind of a little bit of a spin off of Jack's streamer that we had tied earlier when we had Jack Fields in to tie with us and show off his new line of dubbing, which we're going to use that in this fly. But we're going to tie a little bit different body on it and use a lot less of the electric wool, but get the same effect in the nice streamlined pattern. So let's get into tying it. We're also going to be showing off a couple new products on this. Well, I guess really, two new products for the shop, but one in particular is fire hole hooks. The fire hole hook we're going to be using is this 811. Really nice straight eye hook you can see here, and I really like the hook gap on this. It's a 3 extra long hook with a 2 extra gap, so it's just a really nice hook. I really like them. It's a lot like a Gamakatsu, what is it, the B10s, which we use for streamer hooks. But we're going to start out with tying this. We're going to put our hook in the vise, and we're actually going to tie it upside down, I guess you would say. So we'll put our hook in the vise here. And let me get this centered. There we go. And now we're going to start out with our thread, and you can tie this in just about any color thread you want because it's only going to show up in the head here. And actually, if you want to change the color of that, we can change that with a marker, which we might do that at the end. So we're going to just get our thread started on there. Next thing I'm going to use is some dumbbell eyes. These are real eyes, and this is a 5/32. And you can see how far back I'm putting this from the eye here. And what we're going to do is we're just going to get it started on there. And then we're going to make some figure 8 wraps around it. And just all kinds of wraps, however you feel like wrapping. Go around it even sometimes. And we're just going to wrap it down good. Make it nice and tight there. And it's still going to spin. So what I do is I get it where I want them on there. Get it tied down pretty tight with a fair amount of thread. Then I'm going to bring my thread back out of the way here, as you can see. And then I'm going to spin this so when I look at it, it's level on the hook there. And not too far around the eye. I like that. And once we get it to there, we're just going to take a little bit of Solares Bone Dry. You can see here. This is like a head cement, but it's a UV. So we're just going to brush a little bit of this on so we get it done quickly. If you want to put head cement on, that's fine. Super glue also works great. I just like to be the instantaneousness of this. Okay, and then we'll hit it with our light. Okay, it only takes a second when you hit it with the light there. And that's locked in place. That ain't going anywhere. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the body on this. Now, like you see, if you remember my streamer here, I had a red strip down the center. To get that red strip, I'm going to use some ice dub. I'm actually going to use some UV rust ice dub. Okay, and the way I'm going to put it on is with the dubbing loop. And I'm going to use my new dubbing loop tool here that we just started carrying in the shop. I cannot say enough about this thing. I've been using it in the last couple videos here. And we're just going to create a dubbing loop. And then wrap this back here to the bend of the hook. I might even go just a tad bit over the bend. Okay, and then I'm going to bring my thread right up in front of the eye just to hold it in place. Now what I do here is I stick my finger in between the dubbing loop because I want to spread this out so I can put this in here. And what I'm going to do this, I'm going to put this in here real loosely. And there you can see here how I'm just laying it in between the thread, and I want it to stick out pretty far on both sides, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to brush this out. I want fibers going both ways through my thread, so I kind of try to pull it out in a strand long ways and then stick it in there long ways, and then I'm going to fill this whole brush up. Well, we're going to create the brush. But as I get closer to the back, I start to let my finger out so it tightens down a little bit at the front. And there you can see I have a very thick. You can see how thick this is here. Okay, try to get it all centered there. You can see how nice and thick that is, and then it gets tight here, and then all we're going to do is just spin this around. Okay, make a nice brush here, and then I'm going to take my Velcro brush, and I'm just going to tease these fibers out. Okay, just get them as long as I can. Now I'm going to spin my bobbin holder out here so it holds the thread, and then we're just going to use my rotary vise, and we're going to put this on. We're just going to wrap that up towards that eye, and as we're wrapping, we're going to try to tease these fibers back so we have nice long ice fibers here. Okay, and this is going to create the look of the red stripe down the body. Okay, and what I want to do is I want to come right up here. I'm just going to make one wrap right under those eyes, and I'm going to tie it off right there in front of the eyes. Okay. Thread. And then this, I'm going to trim off, and then I can pull these fibers out and use them again later. You see how much I have left over there? I'll just pull them out and use them again later. Now, as for my body here, I'm just going to take my brush again and tease those fibers out. So I got lots of red fibers going down there to make a nice lateral line, the red lateral line of a rainbow. Okay, you see how that looks there. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to put a Zonker strip on. I am using black barred olive variant Zonker strips. This one is the olive. I tie them in brown sometimes. I also tie this in a clear white. I'll use a belly ice dub, and I'll put that on instead of the red here, which makes just a nice shiner imitation. But what we're going to do is we want this to go, we want the tail to go about the length of that ice dub, and we'll trim that. There we go. We'll pull that off. So I want it just to go past, and then I want it to go up here to the eye. So we're going to measure that out, and we'll just cut it to length. Okay, now I'm going to set this on here, and I'm going to see where my hook, where the bend of the hook goes, like right here, okay? That's the mark we're looking for. I'm going to find that mark on my Zonker strip, and I'm going to remember where that's at, and then I'm going to punch that through the punch that hook right through the middle, as you can see there, and then I'm going to pop this out of the vise, and I'm going to thread this the rest of the way through. Now this is where that fire hole hook comes in awesome, because it's barbless. It makes it really easy to go through that Zonker strip. Okay, we're going to put it back in the vise, and then we're going to continue to tie this down. So I'm going to get all my Zonker fibers out of the way there, and I'm going to pull this up right in front of those dumbbell eyes, right behind the eye of the hook, and we're going to tie it down. Oops, I'm going to get a couple. Give me a little trouble tying her down there. We'll get it. There we go. There we go, and we want to tie that down right on the top. And don't go overboard on your wraps. You see how I kept it nice and thin there? Let me straighten that out in the video for you there a little bit. There we go. Okay, you see how I kept that nice and thin on my wrap there? We want to continue that going along here, because we don't want to build up too much head right here. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of the Forestry Abyss electric wool from Jack here that we used in his video, and I'm going to pull out some fibers out of this. Okay, now I want these to be fairly long, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the pack, and I'm just going to hold it. I'm going to tease out a nice long strand of fibers here. Okay? And I want it not real thick, but about like that. And now some of these are a little long. I'll pull them out and I'm just going to put them back in. Okay. There we go. And that's going to be, we'll work it out, or we'll get it worked out here in the end. There we go. So we're just going to keep teasing these fibers until we get it to about the length and the thickness we want. And that is about the thickness we want here. I'll hold that in front. You can see there. It's not a whole lot, but it doesn't take a whole lot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this down, and I'm going to lay this up here along my streamer, and I don't want these to go past that zonker. So I want it to go about 3/4 of the way, just about. And then I'm going to tie that down, and all I'm going to do is make 2 good tight wraps here. Okay, and keep that centered on top. Alright, then once we get the 2 good tight ones, I'll put one more just to make sure it's good and tight. Then I'm going to turn this fly upside down. Okay, this is actually going to be, this is upside down because whichever side you tie the dumbbells on, the dumbbells are going to be on the bottom side of the fly. So the way this is going to ride in the water, even though we start tying it this way and tie the dumbbells on top, it's actually when the weight of these dumbbell eyes will spin the hook and it'll ride this way through the water. So the top of the hook now becomes the bottom of the hook when it's fished. So we're going to get back to the bottom of the hook, and what we're going to take is a little bit of Cyrus, the white Keller. It's like a creamish white Keller in the electric wool dub, and same thing, it's got some gold tinsel in it. Same thing, we're going to pull out a nice strand of the wool fiber there, and we're just going to tease it and get it how the length we want. And you see how I pulled some of the fibers out? I'm just going to tuck them back in there just to make one nice strand. Okay, and then once we get it the length, and I want this to go right past, I want it to go right to about the length of the end of the leather on the Zonker, okay? I don't really want it to go past that. That's the length I want it to go. And we're just going to make 2 small wraps, tight wraps on this. Okay, once we get that good and tight, which I need a little tighter. Okay, once we get that good and tight, what we're going to do is we're going to pull this back over, and we're going to pull our head side back over, the green on the top. Pull them both back over, and we're going to make a couple wraps right there to hold them in place. Okay, you see how? Now if I take my brush here, I can take my brush and comb these out, and they'll lay back here. If I take it out of the vise, it'll work real nice, but there, we'll do the bottom side. Okay, now the last thing I want to do is I want to give this just a little bit of a gill plate. I'm going to use some earthen gray Keller, and just like it has a little set of gills there, or like it's a baby cutthroat even. So we're just going to take just a little bit of this. It doesn't take a lot. A little bit goes a long way when you're doing this part of the fly. And I'm just going to make a nice tiny little piece that we're just going to tie in. And we're going to cut this off at the front. I don't need extra of this. That's all that I really need there. So I'll wrap that down, spin this over, make sure everything's lined up where I want it. Okay, now I know that whenever I take and glue this down, this wood duck thread that I'm using, it's going to get a little bit darker. It's going to get to a darker color that I like. So that's all I'm going to do with it, is I'm just going to gloss that, or not gloss it, but cement it with my bone dry again. And I'm going to leave it at that. If I wanted to make it black, just take a black marker to it. If I wanted to make it even browner, or I could even put a little bit of green on top and hit a little bit of green or an olive with my Sharpie on the top there, and that would work too before you head cement it. But I'm not going to. It doesn't look bad this way. So we're just going to hit this with some bone dry. And that bone dry, like I said, the bone dry will soak into that wood duck and it'll make it a nice deep brown color. And we'll just hit it with the white there. Get that to cure. Okay, now I'm going to take and pop this out of my vise for a second. And I'm just going to take my comb, my little fur comb, my little, not fur comb, but dubbing comb here, brush. And I'm just going to comb this dubbing out. Get it around both sides of that hook. Get it even there. And this one turned out really nice. I'm really pleased with this one. So let's get this back in the vise and let you have a look at it. There you go. So that's how simple that fly is. It took a little bit of time because I'm talking to you, but you can see how nice that fly turned out there. It's not hard to tie at all. Just takes a little bit of practice doing one or two. Bringing that dubbing back over is the hardest thing on this fly. If you don't have that dubbing tool, do it the old school way like I used to. And make that dubbing loop though, because you can really brush that ice dubbing out nice and it looks real nice that way. So give this a try. Do not be afraid to change colors, like I say with all my patterns. If there's one in your area that you fish a lot, a color, you know, a minnow that you fish a lot, for instance, use black ice dub down the middle. Use a light tan color or a white on the bottom and a brown piece of Zonker with a brown over top of it. You got yourself a black-nosed ace. Okay, think about these things. Try to imagine what bait fish is in your stream. Try to match that bait fish that's in your stream. Here is a rainbow color. I like to tie this, like I said, I like to tie it with belly dub, or the ice dub belly. Let me grab it. It's not hanging on. Oh, here it is. Minnow belly ice dub. There we go. Minnow belly ice dub. I like tying with this stuff a lot, and I'll use a white Zonker strip and a white belly on the bottom, and then a little bit of gray over the back to make a nice shiner pattern. So experiment, have fun. That's the most fun thing about it for me. Is just always trying to come up with new patterns, see what works best in your area. I'll tie 5 or 6 different colors, go out fish them all. If there's one that I like more, I'll tie a whole bunch more of it. So have fun tying it. Don't be afraid to look us up at the shop. Find the material to get it. All of it you can find at holsingersflyshop.com. And please take the time to subscribe to our channel so you're constantly updated with new videos. I really like bringing these to you, and I'm trying hard to get them out once a week to you. But I'm pretty busy right now this time of year doing shows. Like right now I'm doing a show this weekend at the Mainline Fly Tires, and then in Long Island with the Long Island Fly Fishing Expo. So you can catch me at some of the shows. You can find that all out on our website too, where I'll be at tying. And if you ever want me to come to tie at your club or something like that, get a hold of me and we can set something up. So get a hold of me at holsingersflyshop@gmail.com, or you can contact us at holsingersflyshop.com is another email address that you can get a hold of the shop at. So anything you need, let us know. Thanks a lot. Thanks everybody for watching. And until next time, I'm Sean Holsinger.